Well, we are about halfway through the spring split with coverage brought to you by Alienware. So I'm joined right now by not a player or somebody that you would normally see on the broadcast, at least the English broadcast that is. That's Cherrigan, whose name I cannot pronounce because I cannot roll my R's. Maybe you can pronounce it for the audience?
Cherrigan is fine, but maybe you should try Cherrigan.
Cherrigan. Okay, yeah, I can't.
Almost.
I have tried to roll R's my whole life. My tongue is stupid. Anyway, so maybe you can talk a little bit and introduce yourself. What are you up to these days in the League of Legends space?
Of course. So my name is Hannah. I'm also known as Cherrigan in the gaming LATAM world. I started shoutcasting, I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, and it was actually Heroes of the Storm, which is pretty fun because I remember when I started streaming Heroes, a lot of people came to my stream and were like, hey, why don't you play League of Legends? And I was like, I'd rather play a game with all these characters from the Blizzard world, since I was a very passionate World of Warcraft player. That's why I loved Heroes. So I know it's now like an RIP for Heroes, but that's when I started. Then I went through Overwatch, and then Battlefield, and streaming and doing content and shoutcasting other games. I eventually started getting involved with ESL for the LATAM division, so I started working at localizing all the product for the LATAM audience. I eventually started working with a local producer by organizing and doing all the production side of some local tournaments that went from Fortnite, Mortal Kombat, and a lot of titles. And that eventually led me to TV Azteca, which is a national TV network. And that's when I think I went really big, if you could say so. And I was involved in shoutcasting and hosting, and also in the creative side of all the programs that TV Azteca launched at that time. So when I started working there, we had our own co-stream of the Latin American League for League of Legends. We were following the first division of LoL over there. So I got very close to the teams, to the players, and all the stories. And I was really passionate about it, like following even Jose de Odo at that time. And then I started working at Switch, the partnerships team. So there's something about me that I really like and love helping other creators develop like their talent and their content. So that's my main purpose at the moment. And during the weekends, I started working at LCS and Vivo with all the FlyQuest folks. My main role is just hosting and pretty much like building up all the stories that we are following day to day and match through match.
You have a much more storied career than I had realized when we signed up for this interview. It's cool to see your path. Because I did not know that you had even started in Heroes, and that then eventually, now working at Twitch and all that. So, but I think in particular, I really want to hone in, of course, on the FlyQuest Spanish language stream. Is that what's the official name of that broadcast? What are you guys calling it?
It's FlyQuest presents LCS. Yeah, LCS live en vivo.
Okay.
FlyQuest presenta LCS en vivo.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So how did this come about? Like, I don't know if it was like FlyQuest reached out to you, or maybe they asked Jose Diodo. Oh, I mean, I don't know. Like, what ended up occurring that brought you into this broadcast?
Yeah, they reached out to me, and it was a huge surprise. I remember telling them that despite if I was working with them or not, I was very happy for this opportunity, because I know there's a lot of Latin American fans following TSM, for example, or LCS, generally speaking. So this was an opportunity that I definitely wasn't expecting. So I just went through the interview process. I told them like the whole story I just told you, basically, pretty much, and they accepted. So I feel very grateful for this opportunity.
Where are you based out of right now?
I live in Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I thought was really fun about the FlyQuest announcement, whenever they said they were going to be doing this and working with you and your team, is that I remember there, I think around Worlds last year, or maybe it was Summer Finals, there was a press conference with LCS Commissioner Greeley, and one of the questions was, hey, why don't you have a Spanish language broadcast? Like, LEC has all these language broadcasts, and Spanish is, even in the U.S., there's a large amount of people who speak Spanish primarily. So it was a good question. One I had never thought to ask and consider. And so now you guys are putting this together. What are you hoping to achieve with this? Is it for more of those folks that live in Canada and the US and follow the LCS, now they can have a language stream? Or is this so that, Latin American fans, maybe fans that have watched Jose Dioto previously now have this? Like, what really are you guys looking to do, and how are you approaching this?
I feel like it is a bit of both, like catering for all LCS Spanish-speaking fans, and mainly catering for all the Jose Deodo and newbie fans, because they were already following them in the LLA, and they were. I don't know if this is exclusive from Latin American fans, but they are very passionate about their idols and all these players that they are usually following. So what is most valuable about this product, and this is my personal point of view, is that we have the LCS with all these huge amount of talent and players and stories, but with the Latin American spice. Like we have our way of, if you could say, roasting and also celebrating and also feeling sometimes sad about some team. And now this is like a point where more fans can gather and share just the way they would share with any other Latin American spectator.
Well, what is your philosophy on how to approach the broadcast? Because obviously, as you said, there's probably a lot of people that are tuning in to watch Jose Dioto and Newbie. But so I don't know if you focus on them primarily as the big storylines, or if you are really like, whoa, TSM is winning and 100T is losing, and what's happening with Team Liquid. Like, how do you guys approach the broadcast? And again, I don't know how much of the LCS broadcast you've watched, but I don't know if there's like a big difference between the way you guys approach it and the way that perhaps the LCS main broadcast approaches it.
Like they are the main storylines, but like we are covering all the teams, and we always have a highlight for each team. We might not be like sharing some inner memes like the McDonald's team and imports team and so on and so forth. Of course, some of the fans are aware of it, but we try to approach in an analytic way, but also in a fun, casual way. So it's kind of a mix. So it's not so far from the original concept of the LCS broadcast, but we sometimes give it our own spice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is the broadcast going? Because unfortunately, Newbie and Jose Dioto have not been having their teams at least have not been having the best time so far. So how's it managing that?
I don't know. What would be your success measure or point of measure to say how is it going?
I guess I would say it's difficult because it's like, oh no, the team's gonna lose again. Golden Guardians, no.
Nah, I think it's going awesome, and I think it's very fun. It's very casual. Like, we are always having fun, but also giving our point of views based on numbers, which might be sometimes the best adjectives, like KDA and kill participation and so on and so forth. There's every time the stream is on, there's a lot of people asking for Jose Deodo's match and Newbie's match. And of course, when FlyQuest is playing or Golden Guardians is playing as well, we have a higher viewership. But other than that, I think it's been awesome, and it's been a very fun experience. And people are not only close to Jose Deodo and Newbie, but other players as well, like following the storyline of Bjergsen and Power of Evil and Neo, who's being doing or having a lot of success, if we could say so, and so on. So we follow all the players and all the teams evenly, but of course Jose Deodo and Newbie will always be our stars.
Yeah. Well, can I ask a little bit, what do the Latin America fans think of these players going to the LCS? Does it because this actually kind of came up a little bit on the import rule stuff that you referenced before, where it's like some people are like, oh, do these regions like the fact that their players go off to compete in LCS, or maybe even in other regions if they ever did? Or is it like, no, our stars are leaving our region? I don't know. I'm kind of curious.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm the one to speak for all the Latin American fans.
You have to say for all of them right now. But I mean,
Oh, this
you
is
get what
a
I mean.
huge,
Like maybe you see some chatter. I don't know if a lot of people are
yeah,
happy
this
or
is a
sad.
huge responsibility. But I think there's always been like a feeling of certain gap between the regions, between Latin America and Europe and North America and so on. But I think this is like the next step for Latin American players, like going beyond Latin America and seeing them having success is it feels like a shared success. Like everybody feels very happy about them. Like it's a big opportunity, and everyone wants them to see rising a trophy and getting titles and a lot of success and fans and so on. So overall, I would say there's a very good sentiment when a player leaves LATAM for a team outside of our region.
Yeah. Well, how has the broadcast been going for you so far? Because it's been happening now for quite some time, several weeks.
Yeah.
So what has the reception been? What's been fun? I mean, how are you all working on this?
Well, I had to study a lot, all the players and all the teams. I certainly already knew about Jose de Odo's background and newbies as well, but I had to do and still have to do some research from LCS players. But this is, I've always liked this part, this process for every game I've been on. I think you could say, or you could think that maybe it could be like a little bit tiring working from Monday to Monday, but I really love this. Like this is what I was made for. So it's so fun learning about all of them, and it's so nourishing on top of it. So I've loved it so far.
That's great to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really cool to see that. What is what have the fans been like? I mean, have you said you see a surge during the Golden Guardians games
Yeah.
and the FlyQuest games, but are there a lot of other people sticking around? Do you guys interact with chat, or do you just look and you see like, oh, I've seen that person before?
Yeah, like you could see some frequent visitors already. The sentiment of like generally speaking coming from the chat is positive. There's a lot of messages as well saying, hey, thanks FlyQuest for putting this together. I'm bringing a Spanish broadcast, and I still miss Captain Flowers, for example. There are some messages as well.
Yeah.
Since there
If
were
only we
some
get Captain
partial
Flowers to learn Spanish, I think that would be great.
it would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. El Capitán Flores. So it would be so awesome to do like these ambitious crossover. But the sentiment is very positive. When Jose de Odo is playing, everybody's cheering for him. Everybody's saying, or there are some comments. For example, I read a really fun one. It was saying that Jose de Odo knows all the decimals from pi.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Jose de Odo was born before his parents, or
Yes.
Jose de Odo, like he's so OP, and a lot of people cheering for him. Obviously, if he ever makes a mistake, it's like, oh, what a bummer. So it's so emotional to chat every time Jose de Odo is playing our newbie as well.
That's awesome to hear. Well, I'm really excited to hear about the broadcast, and I thought it was a great idea. And it's fun to hear that you're having so much fun with it, even if you're working crazy hours. I hope, hopefully you get a break during MSI or whatever. But is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there who maybe are watching the broadcast, thinking about tuning into the broadcast, anything at all?
Well, I feel very grateful for the opportunity. So I think, first of all, I thank FlyQuest for believing in me. They have this hashtag, which is showcase greatness, and they believed there's some greatness within me. So I am grateful for it. And to the fans, well, we will always be very grateful for all the support. And we just want to have a blast with you guys on the chat and during the stream and doing all these memes together. So following together, like together all the chat and Twitter fans as well. Jose de Odo and Newbie and all the LCS players is a huge opportunity for us also. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the interview. And by the way, I'm just going to say on official record, I messed up and missed our very first time. We were supposed to do this interview last week. It was my fault, so an official apology on mine. I'm so glad we could reschedule this. But again, thank you so much for the interview. It's been a pleasure. And for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things LCS right here on my YouTube channel. Did you know that Alienware actually gives me a ton of free reign to say how I want to promote their products and allows me to make really unique outros? And so I'm going to just say, by the way, you can go check out their stuff in the description, but I think they would not mind if I just took a little bit of a different tack this time and said, thank you to Alienware, but also, why don't you go, if you enjoyed this interview, tweet at the player that was in it and say something nice about something that you thought was interesting, or maybe something you've enjoyed about their play recently, because I think in the space that we are all in, sometimes it's a lot easier to criticize than to praise, and I don't know if people realize how nice it is to sometimes just see a nice message from somebody. So again, if you enjoyed this interview or there was something that you thought was quite fun about it, go ahead and hit up the player and let them know. I'm sure they'd appreciate hearing you say that. Let's just go hit them up on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere else.